and I'll try to improve if I ever do this again. So this is the Drudge Report front page this morning. I always check Drudge Report first. Make sure the world is still turning. And it is, despite the scare pictures and tactic there. I love Drudge, don't get me wrong. I rely upon it to let me know that the world is turning, for the most part. But I skim through the titles, and I always have thoughts in my head, and I want to get them out. And occasionally I click articles, and I have thoughts about them, and I want to get those out. And writing takes too long, and people don't like to read writing anymore. And I'm just going to give it off the top of my head without editing much. And if anyone cares to listen, I'm amazed. But at least I'll get it out of my system, and thank you for tolerating me getting it out of my system. If you're listening, thank you. So this is April 6th, and let's go through the headlines over on the, hopefully it appears on the left to you. I'll try to hold this phone still and not make you ill. All right, we're going to talk about this little group of info. I'm not sure who that is. Eric Prince, that's who it is. Mueller has evidence raising questions about Eric Prince's testimony. Well, sure he does, because he's not going to stop until he's stopped, and he's got reasons to run the clock, so yeah, we don't need to read that. I can tell you where it's linked to, ABC News. I don't like ABC News very much. Went after Manafort bank accounts. May bring more charges. Oh, that's Mueller. Mueller went up. Not giving up. Still kicking and screaming. Lowry. I'm not sure who Lowry is. Trump greatest danger is talking to special counsel. I agree. He should no way talk to that guy. Anybody. That's what they do. Lawyers are wordsmiths. Whoops. He will wordsmith his way into extending the investigation. Mystery surrounds Sessions' pick to investigate FBI. I wonder who that's about. That's from The Hill. Sometimes I don't know. My jury's still out on The Hill. And then what's the last thing in this subject? This is the political Russiagate, drain the swamp, mostly. Area of Drudge Report. Putin close advisors targeted with sweeping sanctions. Well, of course they are, but who would agree to that? Politico. I'm sure they're cheerleading it, but we'll go back to this. Actually, I want to go to an AP thing. I was skimming this while I was drinking coffee at the local Quick Mart, and I found an article that made me a little mad and finally pushed me over the edge to was about John Kelly, the chief of staff. Let's see where that was. I thought it was over there. Well, I could always search, I suppose. Kelly. Isn't it EY? No. Go. Come on. Is he on here again? No? Let's go backwards. Come on. It was an AP article. I was looking at it on my phone. I'm going to go and take my time and find it. Not over there. Not over there. I didn't get very far down the page. Here it is. President freezes out chief of staff. Well, he's talking about John Kelly. The president is freezing out John Kelly. How can you freeze out your chief of staff? They're continuously, constantly up in the middle of your business. That's what they do. And they're also the kind of a strainer, a barrier, or a strainer, a filter between you and almost everyone who wants to reach you. They have to be. That's what you trust them to do. So, why would President Trump freeze out the chief of staff? That sounds frightening. Let's go read. Oh, AP, they're Associated Press. They're trustworthy. Here's the top of their article. I hear they're Nazis about copyright stuff. I really don't want to republish the article. I'm here to criticize it. and I don't think you can really read it on my screen. You can go to the link yourself. It's AP News. There's the title. Trump freezes out Chief of Staff. So Drudge didn't embellish that too much. I like John Kelly. He's got to be tough. Washington. Let's see what they have to say. What are their sources, and when did this start, and why, and what are the implications? So let's see, the 5 W's. I don't know. Who, what's going on, who, when did it happen, why did this thing happen, what were the causes, what evidence do we have for causes, okay, and how, why, who, what, where, okay? So Washington. High school English all flooding back to me. When President Donald Trump made a congratulatory phone call, all right, to the Russian Putin when he re-won, Kelly was not on the line, okay? Well, also, when he called John Bolton to be his next national security advisor, Kelly wasn't in the room when he called him, when he made the physical phone call. Oh, no, when he tapped. What does that mean? Made the decision or physically reached out to John Bolton or literally tapped it out on his keyboard. Kelly wasn't in the room. Okay, but we don't know why. Maybe they had discussed it before. And he said, next time I'm going to do this tomorrow, whatever. There's no way that Kelly didn't know it was John Bolton before Trump made that public by reaching out or saying something or whatever. No way. Chief of Staff. Doesn't mean he have to approve it. It just means he knows. That's all it says. All right. And when Trump spent a Mar-a-Lago weekend stewing, well, it's hot in Florida, stewing over immigration and trade. When was that? And when Trump spent a Mar-a-Lago, what's the date of that? Kelly wasn't in sight. Okay. Does that mean he wasn't there? Or they're implying he didn't go to Mar-a-Lago that weekend. Okay, maybe he had something else to do. We have Skype and we have constant in-your-ear communication now. I'm not so sure. He's not his body man. He's his chief of staff. All right. Kelly once empowered to bring order to a turbulent West Wing. We're going to go back through this. Has receded from view. His clout diminished, his word less trusted by staff, and his guidance less tolerated by an increasingly go-it-alone president. Wow, that sounds like some serious dysfunction in the family there. What's supposed to be a well-oiled machine? Who's their source for this? Was there a press conference about, like, they all need Prozac or something? Family intervention? Let's see. Emboldened in his job, he's rebelled against Kelly's restrictions and mused about doing away with the chief of... Well, I missed that tweet, but okay. It's all leading White House staffers and Trump allies to believe, how do we know what they believe? That Kelly is working on borrowed time. Have they said that? How do we know they believe that? It's all leading. What's leading? This is what their beliefs are based on. What are their beliefs, and how do we know what they are? We're just figuring out that's what they should believe if this was the... Okay. In recent weeks, he's governed at breakneck pace, ousting aides and issuing surprise policy announcements on Twitter. I'll try to read more clearly. Recreating the helter-skelter. Boy, we just love the adjectives in this article. Who's this from? AP News. Okay. Recreating the helter-skelter feel of his first months in office. Okay. Helter-skelter. Kelly's allies maintain that his retreat is strategic. They suggest that the belief that Kelly was Trump's savior, was an overstated idea all along. I never heard this idea before. And that the chief of staff is now content to loosen the reins and allow an increasingly comfortable president to govern from his gut. This is the most touchy-feely, profanity alert, shit I have ever read. I mean, maybe not ever, but this is some touchy-feely stuff. What is this? Therapy? Okay. Or this is the story we're being introduced to. It's like a soap opera. Sorry for the... It's a soap opera. This is the backstory. I can hear the violin playing. But those close to the president, all right, here we have our first, they suggest. Those close to the president say, all right, somebody said something. We're not just getting the backstory. That Trump has increasingly expressed fatigue at Kelly's attempts to shackle him, and that while Trump is not ready to fire Kelly, he has begun gradually freezing out his top aide. Okay, who are they? And who did they say it to? Did they say it to the AP? Did they say it to the reporters listed at the top? Was it on the record or off the record? When was this said? You got to narrow it down. Even if you can't reveal the name, you can narrow it down a lot without giving it away. So there's the who, the what. I want like a direct quote. Sort of. All right. Who, what, where? Yeah, where was this said? All right. Trump recently told one confidant, misspelling. Trump recently told one confidant that he was, okay, misspelling, great, that he was tired of being told no. Okay, here's a quote. That one, reconnecting. Sorry if that's timing out. Is there a teenager in the other room? This is taking too long. Those close to the president say that Trump has increasingly expressed fatigue at Kelly's attempts to shackle him. That's what they said, and here's what they said. I wish I could double highlight this. Tired of being told no, the president is. All right, but Kelly, like he's a toddler, all right, and has instead chosen to, or a rebellious teenager, instead chosen to simply not tell Kelly things at all. You can't not tell your chief of staff things at all for like even a day. Unless he's under arrest or something. According to a person who was not authorized to publicly discuss private conversations. Really? And spoke on condition of anonymity. All right, plural and a person. And a quote. We have to reconcile those things. So we know that this person's character has them being rebellious. Whoever said this is a rebel because they're not authorized to publicly discuss private conversations, much less in the White House. Come on, people. And you can't tell them who I am. All right. Nah. I'm going to start a rumor. All right. Maybe not. Maybe it's serious stuff and they need to let us know. Could be. In Trump's West Wing, once the rumors begin, present tense, that an aide's exit is forthcoming, the stink on that staffer never leaves. Wow. What do they call cliches? Yeah. According to one of the nearly dozen White House aides, former administration officials, and outside advisors who spoke to the Associated Press under the same conditions. Hold up. In Trump's West Wing candidates work in state. That's an interesting summary. Do they all phrase it like that? Or who? Stink never leaves. I guess that's some hyperbole or description that these authors came up with. But as a summation of what a dozen White House aides and other people in the White House had to say. And outside advisors. So once it's rumored you're exiting, you are persona non grata until you're gone. Rumors. So we need to start rumors. We want people to get a stink on them, don't we? That's interesting. Who puts the stink on them? I mean, do they really stink, or is it people projecting that they have to distance themselves from you? I guess that's what they're saying. They could have said that instead of leaving it all vague. As Kelly's public profile and behind-the-scenes influence has faded, how do we know that? Speculation has risen that chaos could return. All right. Let's break this down. As the chief of staff's public profile, what we see of him as the American public, I guess, in the press, who are supposed to be able to get a picture once in a while. As his public profile and behind the scenes influence has faded, how do we know that Kelly's behind the scenes influence has faded? Because he said to one confidant, misspelled, that he was tired of being told no. I'm tired of being told no. Okay. Because this stink thing is about the aides, not about the president. So, or Kelly. But they're saying Kelly has a stink, which has made his behind the scenes influence. How do they know that? Okay, so Kelly's on the outs now because there's a rumor that he's gone. So we're backing off of him. There's a stink on him now. Speculation has arisen that chaos could return. Oh, Kelly, who came in to end the chaos, well, he did kind of clean up after a few people who needed it be ousted, and then it's tightened up. He got rid of some leaks. The leaking could return. It looks like the leaking's still going on. So that hasn't stopped, or it's back or something. All right. It's not tenable for Kelly to remain in this position so weakened. Said Chris Whipple, author of Gatekeepers, A History of Modern White House Chiefs of Staff. He's wrote a book. He's making money. What's his authority? What's his education background? Real life experience? Where is this book being sold? More than any of his predecessors, Donald Trump needs an empowered chief of staff. I agree, because that swamp, you need a second guy at the helm that's got your back. He is your second in crew. He's not the vice president, but I mean, he is your right hand. He is your first mate. You got to be solid. Okay. Empowered. Yeah. No doubt. All right. More than any of his predecessors, Donald Trump needs an empowered chief of staff. Why? To tell him what he does not want to hear. Well, yeah. That's why you keep smart people close to you. So you don't want a bunch of yes men. You need to hear that you're about to make a fatal mistake, in their opinion. And you didn't trust this person, so you might actually give it heed. Or you might give it heed. You might tell him to F off, but not quickly. All right. So yeah, that's a good thing. Trump wants to run the White House like the 26th floor of Trump Tower, and it's simply not going to work. He needs an empowered. He's got that. And how is this related to the Trump Tower, where he was running his business? Is that what he had? He had someone. We're jumping the shark here. What was his business partner closest to him, which was probably Ivanka, I think. Or that's how it's portrayed. I don't really know much about the structure of the Trump businesses, other than the family was involved near the top. I think Ivanka and who's running it now, Don Jr. is running the company. His son is his right hand. That's certainly a pretty good first mate in a business world. We're not actually out on the ship. We're making billion-dollar decisions, million-dollar decisions that are important and structured. You've been in the business. It's fine. I don't need to analyze that, but I would think Don Jr., who's now the helm of Trump, would have been the right-hand man. So he wants trying to run it like he had a right-hand man like Don Jr. I bet Don Jr. told his dad plenty of times, that ain't going to work. And they sat down and discussed it. And sometimes he was right and sometimes he was wrong, and he learned both ways, and now he's in his 40s running the company. I think, that's right-hand man, like Kelly, but, business and government are kind of two different things. Wars versus closing my golf course is a whole different ballgame. But I digress. Says Chris Whipple, it's not going to work. Sorry, he can't run it. Okay, maybe he knows he can't run it like Trump Tower and he's changed. How does he know Trump wants to run the White House like the 26th floor? So how is the 26th floor run? How does that parallel to a chief of staff to tell him? Okay, well, simply not going to work, says Mr. Whipple. Kelly was once a fixture at the president's side. But Trump has now cut him out of a number of important decisions. Really? Kelly didn't know? Kelly wasn't part of the decision process of a number of important decisions? Tell me. For months, Kelly made it a practice to listen in to many of the president's calls, particularly with world leaders. While he's still on the line, while he's still on the line for some of his conversations, Kelly was not part of the call Trump made to Putin last month from the White House residence, during which Trump ignored advisors' advice against congratulating the Russian president on his reelection. That sounds like a really perfunctory phone call. And maybe now, since we've gotten some of the leaks or wires out of the system, it doesn't need to be Kelly listening in so we can have a witness to what was actually said or not. Or maybe Trump's now recording everything. I don't know, but Kelly doesn't need to babysit Trump to say congratulations to somebody, even if he has another world power. Come on, man. He doesn't need his hand held. Although Kelly had agitated for the removal of outgoing National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster. Okay, so Kelly wanted McMaster gone, and McMaster's gone now. He counseled Trump against hiring Bolton. Well, we can all understand that. A neocon. Well, now he's a media commentator because he's in between neocons. But he was on the inside of the Republican administrations at a very high level. He was also ambassador to the UN. I'm not sure. I guess that was probably under Bush, preceding Obama. He's a tough cookie. Anyway, scary guy. For most, I would think. Trump did it anyway. Okay. Offering the job to Bolton in a one-on-one meeting in the Oval Office and telling his chief of staff about it later. Maybe Trump said directly to Chief of Staff Kelly, well, thanks for your advice, but we've talked about it ad nauseum, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hire him anyway, and here's what I think will come of it, and here's what I hope to come of it, and here's what I need from you, Chief of Staff, to make that work. That would have been a conversation likely had. Trump did it anyway. He probably said that, and then he went in and said, okay, John, is it John Bolton? Okay, Bolton, we'll just, you're on, and one-on-one. Let's talk about business. Sounds good, right? In the Oval Office, very formal. And telling his chief of staff about it later. Oh, Kelly, I took care of Bolton's on board now. We can go public with that. Okay? That could have happened. Definitely. Would not conflict with the wording in this paragraph. As Trump spent the Easter weekend at his Florida resort and tweeted about his tariffs plan, Kelly was out of state, though the men did consult by phone. I'm sure they did. While Kelly has fumed about the ethics questions swirling around EPA head Pruitt, he's going to be, well, I got to look into that. Trump was at least initially more supportive of Pruitt, telling him, we've got your back. Well, Kelly's fumed about the ethics question. Okay, so Kelly's mad about Pruitt, and Trump originally said, it's okay. We've got your back. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's a bunch of bogus BS. And Kelly just doesn't like these distractions. He might have fumed, but I doubt he was fuming at the president. He's probably fuming at whoever's digging up the crap and stirring this pot. So he fumed about those things. Trump said, we got your back. Those are not in conflict. Unless Kelly fumed at Trump's decision to say, we've got your back. Or Kelly fumed and said, he's got to go. And Trump said, we got your back. We don't know that. He could have fumed. Got to look that up. Got to find the source. What did he say that you characterize him as fuming? And the ethics questions swirling. They're going to take us down. The president also has cast aside the constraints the retired Cast aside, just chunked it away. Got a visual on that. Constraints. Threw off the shackles the retired 4-star Marine general tried to place on Trump, about whom he could see and speak to. Really? Well, he might have altered some original lists. Those restrictions led shunned advisors to try to undermine the chief of staff in the press and with Trump. Trying to undermine the chief of staff in the press. Okay, so they couldn't reach him, but they wanted to undermine so they tried to undermine. Okay, so he was stonewalling some people, so they went to try to undermine him. Yeah. This sounds like dirty politics or something, or normal politics. For months, former campaign manager Corey Lewandowski was barred from the White House. Really? Only to return when Kelly was overruled by Trump, according to 4 White House aides and outside advisors. I'd like to know what overruled and barred consisted of. Many in the West Wing believed that Kelly's attempts to curtail Trump's interactions with Lewandowski, as well as Trump allies such as David Bossie and Anthony Scaramucci, were always destined to fail and alienate the president, who has privately contemplated recreating the freewheeling nature of his campaign and Trump Tower office. What? We're back in the swirly feely narrative backstory. Out of the he said, she said, construed without basis to say what the contexts were. Now we're back into the swirling, more background painting. Kelly has also clashed with Trump's son-in-law and advisor Jared Kushner, who had his security clearance downgraded after a policy change written by the chief of staff. Yeah, but Kushner's not out, and we need an exact description of that. And from my understanding, which I could go resource, many people's statuses were changed after some final screenings were done and their adjustments had to be made. But it doesn't, I mean, again, we need to, what does that mean? Downgraded. Who else was downgraded? Maybe Ivanka was downgraded. Maybe Kelly was downgraded. I don't know what that means. Qualify it. But I do know there was more than just them. It was like a whole swath of staff. And the reason wasn't who they were, but something that was written, so they had to reissue and relabel the type of clearance they had. Different ones, different clearances. So I don't know if it's like an administrative policy thing. We need to find that out before we say we can't trust him anymore. We've got to back him out of here. Done by Kelly. Big difference there. Where are we? Some White House aides contend that Kelly has been intentionally giving Trump more leeway to be himself. I'm getting tired of reading this bullshit. Some White House aides contend that Kelly has been intentionally giving Trump more leeway to be himself. He's letting out the leash. It's not that Trump's rebelling. This is like a parental dynamic thing. This is the most touchy-feely bullshit I've ever, and conjecture and narrative spinning I've seen since, I don't know, yesterday. I don't really want to go on. I don't see any more quote marks. Said, told, I could scan for those, but this is just irritating BS. So I'm going back to the Drudge headlines and see what else catches my eye, and I will start a new stream as soon as I figure out how to end this one.